Hello, hello, my friends. It is Andor, and welcome back to the Knights of the Nerd Republic. You know what to do, and stay profitable.
The Nerd Academy podcast is released weekly at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, available on our website at www.thenerdacademypodcast.com and wherever you listen to podcasts. You can find the Nerd Academy podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. You can also help support the show by going to patreon.com/The Nerd Academy podcast, where every donation allows us to bring you more exciting content every week.
Hello there, and welcome back to Knights of the Nerd Republic, the show your favorite nerds talk all things about the galaxy far, far away. I am your host, Jarod, the Dark Jedi Bachman Stubbs, and we're going to be talking Andor. That's all we're really going to be talking about. Star Wars TV show season. So that's all there is to talk about. There's never any news going on when this stuff's happening. And I am joined, as always, by the one-eyed knight, the lore keeper, the Italian stallion, the man who just won't quit. We got Connor Chakir.
Hello. The Italian stallion kills me every time.
I think it just sticks now. I think it sticks. I think I say it. I think I came up with a new thing I'm going to say at the end of podcasts when I was leaving Skywalking. I don't know if you were watching or not. I was literally just on Skywalking Through the League for like 30 minutes on their live stream and then pop back over here. I think I have a new way I close this show. And we're going to see how long it lasts before we get in trouble with YouTube for me saying it. But we have a lovely guest. We have a friend that Connor recommended to bring on the show. We have the lovely Mo Jimmy Stardust here. Hello.
Hello, hello.
Thank you so much for joining us. Before we get into Andor talk and also a word from our lovely sponsors, where can the lovely people find you and what you do?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at JinMyStardust. It's Andor season, so if you're looking for feral Andor tweets, you can go ahead and follow me there. We also have a small shop where we make all types of fandom merch. You can follow us, Sunshine Seekers, on Instagram and on Twitter as well.
I love a fandom shop. I love a good fandom shop.
It's the best.
It's chicken soup for the nerdy soul.
Literally. Fans always do it the best.
They do. They really do. I cannot tell you the last time I saw a fan-made design, be it shirt, hat, pants, stickers, whatever the hell you want, that does not make the actual official merch pale in comparison. So go check all of that stuff out now. And other things you can check out is our lovely sponsor. Where in the hell did they change the name of that button? Hold on.
It was Connor. He
it
did
was
it.
Probably me. I probably did it.
That's so weird. Normally it just says screen share. Now it says present.
Oh, that's what it was.
Maybe, I don't know. Maybe I've been wrong. Maybe I've been just assuming it said that this entire time and I'm the idiot. I don't know. But thank you to our sponsors, SundaysBloodyMary.com. You guys know the drill by now. Sundays Bloody Mary has the most badass Bloody Mary accoutrement in the galaxy. They got their 2-time award-winning spicy Caesar mix, my preferred mix from them. They also have their mild and traditional mixes as well. I have some lovely garnishes like their pickled dilly beans, okra, and asparagus. Can't recommend them enough. You guys know, bartender by day. I make my Bloody Marys from scratch unless I'm using Sunday's Bloody Mary, which is the only Bloody Mary mix you'll ever catch me using because it is the damn best. So you guys go to sundaysbloodymary.com/shop. Go TNAP at checkout, TNAP, and get 10% off your order, and you help out your favorite nerds while you do it. Mo, as our guest, I'm going to throw to you first your overall thoughts on this most recent episode of Andor.
Of Cassian Andor.
Cassian Andor.
I'm so biased. I think every episode is fantastic. But
you're not wrong.
Yeah,
there's no reason to say that you are incorrect.
I think what's so solid about Andor, like not just this episode, but every episode, is that the writing is just so good. It it leads you, like, you already know that the next episode is going to be like the completion of this tiny arc,
Yeah.
and it feels like they're leading you perfectly into that. And I love that it's still it's still Star Wars, like it's still like kids can still watch it, but it feels so much more mature than that. Like you can watch it as a kid and still enjoy it, and then as an adult you can watch it and just like see a whole different side to it. And I loved it. I love Nemec and his manifesto. I love him just info dumping on Cassian. So much.
Listen,
I hope he
Nemec is
survives.
based. Nemec is based, and
real.
Comrade Nemec.
Comrade Nemec.
oh man,
Did you see that
I-
picture? It was like the Communist Manifesto, and it was like Karl Marx and Nemec.
It did not.
No, but I need it now tattooed on my ass is what I need. No, I was like, I'll be honest. Nemec felt so much like oh, the innocent little puppy boy who's definitely going to get shot 18 times during this heist.
Stop.
I don't want him to, and I will have lots of criticism if we fall victim to something a stupid, simple trope like that, especially with the streak the show's been going on. But at first I was like, oh, like that's who we are dealing with here.
Yeah.
Like, little puppy dog boy who's going to get filled with blaster bolts to remind us that the galaxy is cold, unfeeling, and whatever. And he's just going to be this naive little guy who's super devoted to the cause next to all these cynical, darker adults. And then Nemec actually gets to like speak in this episode. And it's like, oh, you're like pilled as fuck. I'm down. Okay, cool. Like, you're down. Like,
He's
this
like,
isn't
no,
just like,
I'm more revolutionary.
yeah, like Nemec's in deeper than like what's the guy who tried to stab Cassian's name? I can't keep these guys straight.
Skeen.
Skeen.
Richie, basically.
Richie.
I didn't think it. I thought it was Skeen. I was like, that sounds too dumb. But no, like he's more down than Skeen.
Yeah.
And it's he went from being like, oh yeah, it's gonna be sad when you get shot, to ooh, like
Yeah.
Nemec's gonna pop some dudes on the way out if that's how that goes down, and I'm into it. I'm really into it.
It makes me
Not
sad
the him
because
dying
like
part, at least.
I feel like he probably will die, just because like if he was eventually like absorbed into the Rebel Alliance, like he would just be such a great leader. And I don't know, I feel like there's a reason why he's not there.
Hey, you never know. I mean, the retroactive continuity of us somehow never seeing Harrison Dula during the Battle of Endor, like
This is true.
So my fingers crossed my fingers are crossed for him making it out alive and doing some wildly based shit along the way.
For real.
And I need my boy to just carpet bomb that whole Imperial facility.
I need him to come out like even more enraged and just like join Saw's cadre, because they would just be besties. They would just get along.
Talking about my boy, Saw
Hi.
Gerrera. Never done anything wrong.
He's never done anything wrong ever.
To go back to a point that Mo was talking about how kids can like watch this show as well as adults, I'll be very interested to see down the line, because there will be someone. There probably is someone right now whose first introduction to Star Wars is this show, and I'll just be very interested to see how that sort of.
Well, they'll be 12 and they'll be reading Conquest of the Bread.
That's true. That's a fair point. But like, it'll just be interesting to see how that'll inform their perspective of Star Wars going forward, if that's their first exposure to it.
I just keep making different versions of the same joke. I'm sorry. But it was like that really corny like meme that went around early into the Trump days. Where is that like, you're messing with the generation that grew up on Harry Potter and the Hunger Games and Maze Runner, and you better, it was very like, we're gonna like girl boss our way into getting rid of fascism kind of thing. Like I want the generation that's like, we grew up on Andor. Like that's like super
arms.
down with the cause.
Oh,
It's like
man.
stay strapped or get clapped kind of revolutionaries.
Literally.
Anyway,
It'd be
I
so
digress.
interesting, actually, if that is their introduction, and then like afterwards they watch something like the Clone Wars or like any of the prequels that's so like fantastical, and they're like, "Wait, what?"
It's all
Is this what Star Wars
fantastical
is?
and like Anakin and Ahsoka are like with rebels, like Ezra and Zeb are like going on these like flights of fancy adventure, and like you just have these kids who were just like hardened by watching like good men commit war crimes in the name of a revolution, and they're like, man, this shit's weak tea, man. Like where's the war crimes? And I don't mean like the weird like false surrender war crimes. I mean, where Saw Gerrera carpet bombing a building war crimes. Like it, we'll get there eventually.
I mean, like, this has taken place both with Rebels and I want to say during the events of Rebel Rising.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
So Saw, I think, like has just abandoned Jin at this point.
Oh, jeez.
He's gonna be extra paranoid. Like, I'm ready. I'm so ready.
Let's call it war. Yeah. I'm just into it. I'm into when we were just talking about this on Skywalking. We get so much of the like Mon Mothma, like, and even like the mainline Rebel Alliance like line of like, we need to be the good guys for the optics of it.
Yeah.
And like, I like Luthen and I like Saw because they're like, no, shoot that guy. He's a Nazi. Like,
exactly.
I'm it.
Because like definitely like thus far the Rebel Alliance is like, oh, we're only good. Like we don't kill people. Like we don't do any of that.
Yeah.
And then in Rogue One, it's like, well, we do that, but they do it, and you know they're just not the face of the Rebel Alliance.
Yeah, and there's that level of like, oh,
nah, I do
it. we'll kill when we have to. Well, when's that? When we have to.
When we're
attacked. And granted, like, and I will say for the sake of media literacy and, jokes not going too far. Yes, I understand that Saw does in fact go too far. I'm aware. Blowing civilians up is bad, actually. I know. But there's still that level of like, well, you're not as committed to the cause because you're not willing to like get in the mud and fight them there. And it's a fascinating dynamic that I think is only going to become more complicated and more strained as the series goes on. Like Luthen's not afraid to step into the muck. How much does Mon Mothma and like the circle of trust know about these misadventures? Like, Mon Mothma clearly knows Luthen sending these people on a mission. Does she know what all the details are? Does she even want to know what all the details are? That's the kind of stuff that I want to see get developed as the season goes on. Like, plausible deniability, but also like, hey, Mon Mothma, it's like the thing that Tony Gilroy quote that was taken super out of context. Like the Nancy Pelosi comparison happens because she is unwilling to like cast the gauntlet and like, like we're going to fight you as hard as you are fighting us. It's very fascinating dynamic. And again, it has so much nuance to it that can often be lost in a story and in a fandom that quite literally has the good guy magic and the bad guy magic at play. That's what I love about Star Wars. It's so complicated and beautifully contradictory.
It is. I actually
just
love
that. Just apologetically.
I love that it's Mon Mothma and Luthen coming together. Because Mon Mothma is very overly cautious. And even when she's like the leader of Rebel Alliance and she's left the Senate, like she is that, like still has that politician in her to where she's like, we have to be very like cautious about the steps we're going to take. And then we get Luthen in like the first 3 episodes and he's like, kill him. I'll kill him.
And that's it. Something that's fascinating with what you just said, like Mon Mothma is never going to stop being part of the problem.
No.
She's she's part of the system. She's one of the good ones, you know, like she's part of the movement that wants to undo the system becoming corrupt, but the system can only become this corrupt because that corruption is a feature, not a bug. And like Mon Mothma is part of the reason why the New Republic doesn't take the First Order seriously.
Yeah.
The New Republic will fall, the Hosnian system will be annihilated, and it is in part due to Mon Mothma's hubris and inability to see that sometimes you need to match force with force. And, you know, Star Wars is anti-war, but Star Wars is also pro when you got to slap a fascist, you slap a fascist.
Yeah.
Because Star Wars is based like that. I'm going to keep saying it because it's my word of the day.
I love that, like, in Rebels, we get, like, this tension between her and Saw, because I feel like so many of her decisions are like, I don't want to be seen like the way Saw is seen. I don't want to have that perspective of me. And Saw's like, the Empire considers us both criminals. At least I act like one.
Again, I'm gonna keep making the same joke I was making on Skywalking. Like, it's just that, like, you know, everyone's gonna say, "How are we going to handle the Empire?" So, what do you think? And he's just standing there with a lit cigarette, cocking a blaster. Like, it's just that level of, like, you know, this is how this bigger versions of this that flies. This is how you take care of them. And again, like it's fascinating, you know, all the inner tension and contradiction.
And just speaking of the Empire, like, I know people have also said it online, and I think we've mentioned it on the show before. We have seen no stormtroopers at all. Like, I have a feeling they're not going to miss. Like, just
is this the time we finally see the stormtroopers as a threat?
Yeah.
You mean? Yeah.
I think so.
Like how... No, go ahead.
No, it's just like we see it, like the TIE fighter in yesterday's episode, like flying through and just causing fear and anxiety in our rebel crew on Aldhani. Like, for the longest time, we all just thought TIE fighters were just cannon fodder. Like, oh yeah, that's just a simple fighter you shoot down. It's nothing threatening or terrifying about it. And then this show's like, let's reframe that.
Yeah. I love how they're doing that, especially in the last episode, because like it almost felt like the TIE fighter was flying that low just to taunt with them, because they're supposed to be like farmers or whatever, like local people.
Oh,
like
yeah,
they're
that's
doing
absolutely
it
what
on
was
purpose.
happening. Yeah, because they're a bunch of jackboot pieces of shit. It was great. It was such great direction.
They're like, oh, let's fuck with them over there. Fly low.
Yeah. Buzz them. Yeah, it's great.
Remind them who has control here.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what it's all about. Connor, overall thoughts on the episode?
It was pretty good. I really liked a lot of the stuff with the rebels. Obviously, the stuff with Mon Mothma was really cool, which we'll get into. And I know I only know we got like a little bit of Deidre in this episode and a little bit of the stuff with the ISB, but I really thought it was pretty good, like fertile ground for where they're gonna go back. And then Cyril. And then freaking Cyril Cardin being just roasted by his mom.
Cyril and his cereal, just depressed.
Cereal puffs. No, yeah. I agree with you on everything you just said. We can just dovetail right into like actual discussion from here. Let's jump into the Mon Mothma stuff. Like specifically what's happening with her in this episode. Again, Genevieve O'Reilly continues to like be this like, man, like George Lucas. I don't want to say George Lucas didn't put a lot of thought into casting your Joel Edgertons and your Genevieve O'Reillys, but like, I don't think he understands the magnitude of the right decision he made.
Yeah.
Oh, like, definitely.
Like, I don't think George Lucas ever went, oh, we're going to cast Genevieve O'Reilly. We're going to cut her out of the entire fucking movie.
But she's still gonna be.
But you're gonna play Mon Mothma in fucking everything now. Like I don't think that was like, obviously it was never a part of his thought process to cast a young Mon Mothma, have her age into the role over the course of like 15 years, and now she's just like Mon Mothma in everything. It is perfect. There was just this understated like strife within her, and again, and I do realize every time I talk about Mon Mothma, I do it from a critical lens, and I probably am slowly making it sound like I hate Mon Mothma, and I don't.
Yeah,
I love her as a character.
I love her. I adore her.
She's excellent. She's fascinating.
Yeah,
she's good at.
She serves the purpose that she's supposed to.
Exactly.
Like,
one of the interactions I really like with her and her daughter in the beginning of this, is that, and again, it's something Star Wars does a lot, where characters who are wrong are right with a caveat attached to it. And the example here being the daughter is right that Mon Mothma is a poser. What she doesn't fully appreciate is that, you know, like she accurately deduces that Mon Mothma is talking out of both sides of her mouth. What she doesn't realize is that the other side of her mouth that's talking is here, like, getting ready to do some wild, dangerous shit.
Yeah.
You know?
Within Imperial territory. Like.
Yeah, and at the heart of the Empire. And I think it's really fascinating. And you also have the way that her beta cuck of a husband
sucks.
I said this last week or two ago when he first shows up. I was like, oh man, he looks so like High Republic-y. Like he kind of has like a Stellan Gios to him. And then he opened his fucking mouth. And I was like, can you just not talk? Like just look like that, but don't talk. Please. Mr. Mothma, sit down.
Don't be humble.
Huh?
Don't be humble.
Oh, Connor, I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. You making Kendrick Lamar jokes now? Oh my god. I feel like I just watched like a child ride their bike without training wheels.
My framed record of damn is it's proud of you. It's very proud of you.
Thank you.
Just you know what? It's time for future.
Sensational.
There it is. Anyway, I know. Not unlike Kendrick, Mon Mothma is not your savior. But no, this is just such a great dynamic between them, and you see like how like the father's like has his hooks in this poor kid,
yeah,
and like is just poisoning her brain.
Deep.
Man, I cannot wait for the inevitable Mothma only episode.
Literally, I need that because like that whole scene when her daughter's talking to her, you see Perrin in the background just like chuckling, you know, giving his smirks. Like this is like stuff that he's been feeding to her.
Oh yeah,
telling her, and
this is absolutely not the first time because my mom has like, "Are you enjoying this?" In the middle of like they're jawing back and forth here, and she's like, "You having fun, asshole?"
Literally. And I love that point you brought up of like she has to be a poser. Like, yeah, she has to pretend like I need to take my kid to school. I need to pretend like I'm the good Imperial. I love the Empire because I'm planning shit.
Yeah. She knows they barely have 5 years before there's no Senate anymore.
Yeah.
She knows shit's about to get real. She's no idiot. You know, like, so she has to make this time count. And the only way to do that is to not draw attention to yourself. So it's super fascinating. And again, it's that weird give and take of you can either be aggressive in your approach and get quicker results and more meaningful results in many ways, or you can attempt this very dangerous slow burn where you gotta remain. It's so much nuance. I love it.
I'm wondering. I mentioned this on the other podcast I co-host For the Republic. I'm wondering do you guys think we'll at any time we'll get like a sort of Mon Mothma talks with her daughter and her daughter like sort of turns a new leaf with her relationship with her mom?
I would hope so, but man, it really sounds like her dad is just feeding her everything, like this one perspective of her mom. And I feel like the only way for Mon Mothma to break that is to tell her what she's planning. But then that's a dangerous game because, I mean, look at her father.
Yeah.
The man is the kind to like sit with all of these fascists at the dinner table and be like, oh, it's fine. I mean, I don't agree with
They're
that.
fun.
But they're fun.
Kills me every time. I know
it's the decadence and banality of evil. It is the way that being a part of privileged systems of power will inevitably corrupt your soul no matter what. And it is excellent. Even somebody, and you'd think like Mon Mothma's husband has got to be down with the cause, right? He's got to be part of like the backroom deals that are making shit look good. No, you know, like that, like it was such a like, well, duh thing in my mind that when we find out, he's like, yeah, I want to hang out with Sly more. That it's like
with Vizier Masamita. Okay.
Yeah.
I know it's not going to
really
happen,
good choice.
but I would just really love for Mon Mothma to just pop Perrin a new one. Just fucking just sock him.
I need it
in the face.
I'm okay
just
if he gets hit. I'd love for him to get hit.
I wonder if he'll make it out. I'm thinking he won't make it out.
No, he's too close. He's too close to Coruscant. I don't think anybody on I don't think anybody on Coruscant is gonna die on Coruscant. It's too many eyes. It's too chaotic. Now, like your Cyrils and your Deidres, man, they can get off world and get popped easy. But I don't think Farron is gonna face anything like that. And on this is just a nice little segue with like the deception at play. Another fascinating moment that I loved was Cassian copping to why he's with the heist crew.
I was not expecting that.
It's so great too, you know, like, because again, like, you know, Star Wars is about all of these archetypes and ideas in so many ways. Like Cassian is like, has like so much like Han Solo going on, and that like, listen, I'm here for the money. I don't give a damn about the cause. Yeah. Get in, get out, get my cut. I'm out of here. Sure, that's cool. But we also see like, again, where Mon Mothma, like her long game does not function without some amount of deception to everyone. Husband, daughter, whatever. Cassian's cannot function if he continues to be a deceitful little shit. Like, and I think that's really fascinating that those two things are juxtaposed against each other. You have like the decadence and privilege of the Coruscanti stuff that is lined with deception, and then you have the core of everything going on with the boots on the ground muddy stuff that can't function unless you just fess up.
Yeah.
And the moment that happens is great. Yeah, no, I thought it was a very fascinating choice. And again, I think it continues to usher us closer to seeing the Cassian Andor who is willing to not only lay down his life, but equally the lives of others in the name of this cause that we will meet in Rogue One. That he always will have a little bit of that dog in him. You know, he will always have a little bit of that, like, yeah, nope, like you are a sacrifice I'm willing to make. That will always be a part of who he is. It's just eventually it will be, you know, kind of honed and focused into something more worthwhile than just him saving his own ass from time to time. Which just seeing that slow development, and I think this is a big step in it.
I love how him and Jin are like in the same place of their lives, where like there was that line, I think in the third episode, where he was like, oh, separatist alliance, like partisans, like you guys are all the same. And then you get Jin, and it's like, the cause, like, what are you talking about? And it's two people whose lives have been affected so much by this oppressive power that they have become cynical to anything trying to fight it. I don't care anymore. I just want to get paid, and I'm keeping my head down. And it's going to be such a nice payoff to see what leads him to change his heart into the person that's like, everything I do for the rebellion. Like, that's going to be such a good moment.
It's going to be phenomenal. And I think it's also going to, as Star Wars loves to do, retroactively make something else that's, anywhere from good to bad even better. I love Rogue One, and I think that going back and watching Rogue One, by the time that we watch the final episode of Andor, we're going to see Cassian, we're going to see why Cassian is so indignant with her.
Yeah.
I've been in this fight since I was 6 years old. Like, that is going to have so much more weight by the time all this is said and done, because I've been in this fight since I was 6 years old means I didn't choose to be here. I've never made the choice to be a part of this fight. I just chose that I'm going to die fighting it. And that I don't have the luxury you still have of being able to be ignorant and apathetic and just look down to not look at the banner of the Empire fly high, as Saw says. It's just, there's just so much foreshadowing in the poetry of Cassian and Jin having so much in common.
I love that point of, like, all my choices have been stripped from me. I am now left to fight because, like, we have to. That line of, like, some of us just decided to do something about it is going to be, that's going to be so good.
Yeah.
And
especially, you said what you were going to say, Connor.
No, and just, like, going back to, like, the sort of the real world implications of this show. Like, I think it was either Diego or Tony that said, like, yeah, this is about an immigrant who's, like, trying to find his way in the world, but he decides to fight for a cause like bigger than him. And it's like, again, like what Mo said, like how, like what drives him to that point of like, oh yeah, I'm going to do what I do for the rebellion. And like how that's going to speak to people like us who watch it and others who will, like, maybe they're a little apathetic about some things. And this show maybe drives the point home that, like, maybe you shouldn't be, maybe you should fight back.
Yeah.
Again, like I know we joke. I know you joke about, well, half joke. I assume half joke about it, Jared, but like there's probably going to be a lot of pilled kids and pilled people.
Yeah.
This show.
I mean, pilled in the good way. I normally say that in the terms of like the bad way. I mean, like, bread pilled people. I mean, like it's go time. We don't debate Nazis. We punch them in the throat. Kind of kids who you take that message away from this. And I think you're right on a lot of those points. And, Star Wars takes so much from Joseph Campbell, for good or ill. And one of the things I love about Star Wars in the macro, like your Skywalker saga is your heroes into heroines journey of, go, leave your comfort zone, do the big thing, become the big hero, get the prize. And then, the heroine's journey picks up and it's like, okay, I'm going to go be the hero. Oh, wait, shit. Y'all were kind of wrong about this. Now I got to forge my own path. Like, that's great. And you get your like monomyth stuff there. Seeing what the rebellion is like for the people who were there from the jump is so like enriching and fascinating. And in many ways for me makes the rebellion more inspiring.
Yeah.
Like there's something hokey and it's endearing and it's still very inspiring, and all the iconography and everything that it rouses in us is good. But there's something really hokey about the very, original trilogy, here's your your squadron of hero X-wing pilots who are going to fly into dangerous territory, and they're going to come back and woohoo, we blew up whatever big scary ship there was. Like there's a hokiness to that, and it's helpful, and again, it's that pulp nature of Star Wars, and it's inspiring and on a mythic level.
Yeah.
It's something to aspire to. There's something that you can be about the kind of community organizing we see back on Ferrix.
Yeah.
Or the kind of, you can do something. Even if everybody else you already teamed up with thinks you're a little crazy, like they do with Nemec.
Right.
And like, again, Nemec is reading theory. Nemec is, like I said, like he's reading like space Marx, and I'm
Literally.
into it. It's the unsung heroes, who get lost to history. We don't talk about.
They don't get even a sentence in the history.
They don't get a sentence. We don't. We talk about Hitler's rise to power. We don't talk about the anti-fascists who died fighting Nazis in the street. We talk about the black shirts in Italy. We don't talk about the Italian anti-fascist movement, because they were this like fertile ground for that global power to slowly eventually be defeated. And this small band of anti-fascists on the ground, Vel's team, they would only get remembered if Cassian Andor got to live past Scarif and became a war hero.
Yeah.
But because he didn't, he's like, oh, he was part of Rogue One. Oh, what was that? Oh, here's this mission that happened in Scarif. Blah, 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 blah. Like you're gonna get the like the very, the way we kind of learned World War II of like Pearl Harbor happened and then we killed them all on D-Day. Like that very, and it's much more complicated than that. And we learn more than that, but like, that's pretty much the like, okay, this happened and then we got involved and then whooped some ass. Don't worry about what happens in the middle, and the way that the galaxy will know this story is, well, the rebels attacked Scarif. They had the Death Star plans. Everybody on Scarif pretty much got whacked. And then we blew up the Death Star. And then that was the beginning of us being able to beat the Empire. These smaller people, these smaller beginnings are never going to be known. And there's a beauty and a tragedy to that I think is very poignant and very real world. Like even the rebels, like Phoenix Squadron, like you see the mural that gets painted of them, and like because it's so centralized and localized on Lothal, like at the very least Lothal will always remember the name Ezra Bridger.
Yeah.
Because they know what he did to protect them, but like, does the name Ezra Bridger make your hair stand up the way the name Luke Skywalker does across the galaxy? Probably not, because not many fucking people know Ezra Bridger. Like these people all become symbols and become mythic in some way, both to us and within the text. And Star Wars is neat like that. It makes you think about stuff.
It is. You know what? There is something like tragic about like, yeah, no one will probably remember the names of the people in the Aldani cell or like the people on Ferrix, but I find that there's more beauty in it because it's showing you like you don't have to be the hero, you don't have to be, the Luke Skywalker who gets on his X-Wing and blows up the Death Star. Like you can just be the person that helps your neighbor, because that in the end like has a more snowball effect than just looking up to like a hero. Like it's more grounded that way.
This motherfucker don't miss.
No, he's fucking good.
That motherfucker don't miss, man.
He's good.
In the heat of battle, he don't miss.
No.
In the heat of controversy, he don't miss.
That clip is great.
I had Rolodex over here. It's weird. Like this episode is so dense and this show is so dense, but also like, like there's not like a whole lot to unpack really yet. Something that I love and I wonder if this is going to be the case moving forward, that we keep getting like these series of 3 acts.
Yeah.
Probably.
You got our premiere batch, right?
Mhm.
Yep.
And it's just this slow, and again, like people say slow burn, like, like it's not moving at like a, there's an action scene per 5 minutes.
Yeah, there's no pew 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 all the time.
There's no pew 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 all the time. And again, like, and here's what I'll say as well. I think there's a very pretentious and like ego bloviating way to look down on people who are like, I wish there were more action. George Lucas had it down to a mathematic equation of every 7 minutes, pew, pew, pew. Like he's on record saying that. So like it's kind of baked into how Star Wars functions. I think it's kind of unfair for people to be like, oh, you need all the lasers and lightsabers to care. Like piss off. With Andor, I really do enjoy though, like this very like you get 2 episodes of walk and talk, and then like you get a big finale, and then like again, I just really love the peaks and valleys of tension and build up. That it is very unique to Andor, and I think it lends to the very specific tone and feeling that Andor has fostered for itself. But yeah,
I think it's actually perfect because it's almost like a direct like representation of Rogue One. Like you get the first 2 acts that a lot of people are like, oh, it's kind of slow, it drags, but it's like a lot of build up, and then you get your battle with Scarif, and that's how all the episodes are kind of built up.
I never really talked about this because I never knew quite how to articulate it, and Andor completely wipes away even the thought of ever wanting this. But I always wondered, like in an alternate universe, what Rogue One would have felt like if Act 3 were the whole movie. Like you're just dropped into the shit. That
would be insane.
That'd be wild.
Like the movie opens with a transport opening into just chaos and bloodshed. And you get the occasional like flashback as the movie goes on to like, here's why this guy matters. Here's why this guy matters. Again, and like, I don't even think you keep like the same cast of characters. And you could very well like do a story like that still, where like the story just picks up beginning of Scarif and it ends with someone getting with like their ship colliding into the Avenger as it comes into orbit of Scarif.
What an entrance too.
Again, if anybody ever wants proof that Anakin Skywalker's still in there somewhere, it's just dramatic fucking entrances.
He is so dramatic.
He's holding his breath to scare them. He walks into them. Like he waits. He gives it a second. Yeah. He's like, okay. Like he's like, I'm gonna step really hard so they can hear the boards. Okay. Oh, this is so. Oh, it's fucking milking. Master of an entrance, but yeah, I'm kind of out of things to say unless anybody else has any other thoughts for the episode.
Vel and Cinta.
Yes,
Friends canon.
They better not die.
They can't.
They
it's actually illegal. They can't do that.
No, they can't. It's like because.
I just love that. Like every time Cassian was around her, Val was like, "No, I know what you are."
I
especially that really like sneaky when like
he's
Skeen hands him the and he hands it to her, and then Val just comes in.
All right, here I am.
I'm gonna be honest, and I was a little embarrassed by this. It did not click with me at first. It did not occur to me when she's like, she's already sharing a blanket with somebody. I was like, oh, Cinta has like a partner somewhere. I didn't even assume boyfriend. I just went partner of some kind. It did not occur to me that it was Vel at any point until everyone's like, we got lesbians. Like, fuck yeah, lesbians in space. I totally picked up on that the first time.
I totally got it.
Dude, I didn't pick up on the fact that like, I think it was the 4th episode. They're like, oh yeah, we have an Imperial engineer from Coruscant coming. Like, I didn't pick up on the fact that it's probably Galen Erso. My dumbass was like, Gee, I wonder who that could be.
That's going to be an interesting needle to see them thread. And I've talked about this a lot. I don't think Tony Gilroy would do it. There's been no reporting or no rumors or rumblings that Ben Mendelsohn has much, if at all, to do with this show. Maybe the second season, because we're getting closer to Rogue One. It would make sense for Cassian to be on that assignment. But I really am hoping that this show does not retroactively make finding the Death Star Cassian's life's work. You know,
if I had to guess, probably not.
Because it goes back to what I was talking about earlier. You know, like not everybody has this big grand thing destined to them.
Yeah.
You know, if we find out that Cassian's destiny was to always be the guy who helps destroy the Death Star, instead of being the guy who stepped up and helped destroy the Death Star.
Yeah.
In the way that he did, who gave his life to facilitate the plans making their way to Yavin. You know, I think you cheapen that a little bit if it turns into, you know, he's been on the case the whole time.
Yeah.
Or at least
I hadn't even thought of that. Truthfully.
Or at least keep it subtle, you know? Like in the same way that people kind of that, like in stories like this, where people just kind of like bob and weave around, like, ooh, that's going to be important later, like the hyperspace tracking, like coming up in Rogue One.
Yeah,
where Jen's like, hyperspace tracking, that sounds bad. Anyway, moving on. You know, I don't like, or
the fact that like 7 seasons of Clone Wars, like they had to do so many backflips just so Anakin and Grievous could not meet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that. Like,
you know, and again, I don't want them to like go that far out of their way. Like, I think it's cool if eventually, again, probably in season 2, like Cassian's mandate becomes like, there's something going on with the Empire. Like they're building something, you know, in the same way that like the first canon Thrawn book, where like the book ends with him being like, well, I've noticed this, that, and this all being shipped into this sector. What are you building? You know, like if there's an acknowledgement, if Cassian becomes aware, there's some really weird like movements with supplies. It doesn't make any sense. It's going to this sector where there's like fuck all. Why do they need all of this? You know, this is more than you'd need for 1,000 Star Destroyers. What's going on here? Like that would I just that's like my only one tiny concern. Is that like we're gonna start like, oh, when's he gonna find out? But again, I have all the faith
Tony
in Tony
Gilroy.
Gilroy
we're just
company.
not gonna. Yeah, I just feel like
I have all the faith. I have all the
happen.
faith in Gilroy and company that that's not the direction they'll take. And even if they do, you know, I love to be proven wrong.
Yeah, I think that'll be like a season 2, like side story. I think it's the Imperial engineer is either like Galen or Krennic for like the unrelated reasons. Like he's like Krennic probably bringing his little pet, his best friend Galen, to Aldhani to be like, hey, you know, there's this like celestial event, this happens, and it's like so many cool things. Like, can we harness this power? Do you think we can do this? And then
that's true.
Like that's what I think
that's
possibly
wild.
Could happen.
That's really
and
clever.
Then since they are also infiltrating that base, Krennic is obviously going to have like his death troopers with him. So like that is going to be where they collide, where it's like, oh, we didn't think that there was going to be like a garrison here, like other than the one that we were prepared for.
You know, that's another moment I really look forward to seeing. And if they don't do anything with it, that's fine. Is like the first encounter with Death Troopers.
Yeah, because like Deidre has a squad.
Because I think there's a shot in the trailer where there's Death Troopers, I think, on Ferrix.
Deidre has a squad with her.
She has a company. Yeah. She has a guard garrison with her. What I really like, I just want to see that moment like, oh shit, these stormtroopers are bad. And then it's like, oh, like here are all these dudes who are like 6'5" with like basically carrying hand cannons.
Literally.
That, you know, like, oh hey, let's try to listen to their comms. Well, there that goes.
Dude, I'm kind of scared for Ferrix. Because
Oh
in
man,
the trailer,
Ferris is not gonna good.
there's a shot where like his son is throwing that explosive, so like obviously going to be some type of revolution there.
Dude,
They're
Brasso better
obviously
not
not going to
die.
be happy. I know Brasso can't die.
Dude, that guy's a homie.
Nobody on Ferrix can die except
No.
Tim, but he's already dead. So
Yeah, fuck Tim.
Tim and his lazy ass Shocker cosplay already got double tapped. I can think of that every time. Like, you look like the Shocker. You look like Herman Schultz, my friend. But yeah, no, great episode. Very much looking forward to this heist that's coming up in this, the third act of the second act of the season. Yeah, you got anything else, or is that all we got?
Oh, everyone has their own rebellion. Wonderful line.
I love
Great
so
line.
many great lines.
Yeah,
So
that's a good poster line.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's almost like a rebellions are built on hope type.
Yeah,
line.
yeah, they're very right on that. You're very right on that. Yeah. Mo, one more time for the lovely people at home. Where can the lovely people find you and what you do?
Lovely people, you can find me on Twitter at JinMyStardust. You can follow our shop, Sunshine Seekers, and buy some fandom merch. Connor, the One-Eyed Knight.
You can find me on Twitter at Depa Banana. Where else? Oh, why do I always forget where you people can find me? I don't know why. I say this every episode. For the Republic, a love letter to Star Wars animation. That is another podcast I co-host. We just recorded our Andor episode like 2 hours ago, so I'm literally pulling double duty, but it's fine. But we also go through the other shows like Clone Wars. We're going through that chronologically right now, and we'll probably finish it in like 3 years. It just takes forever.
It does. That's a long one. It's worth it though. The Clone Wars is a nice build.
It is. And sweditor.ig.com/fiction. There are a lot of stories already published in this Star Wars fan fiction universe that we have. I don't have any stories published yet. I have a few in the works, but one I can talk about is called The Hidden Kyber. It is set during our Dawn of the Order initiative, which is our it's an initiative, a fan-made initiative that looks at the formation of the First Order through our own unique, like, character-focused lens.
Ooh.
So I'm really excited to see like how that builds up to what we're hoping it'll build up to. My story is set shortly after the events of Fallen Order, and it follows Seer Junda and Cal Kestis. Think it'll come out like January. Yeah, unsurprisingly. Well, originally it was Cal, but then I was like, nah, let's make it about Seer. So that'll come out like January or December. I don't know when. The dates change. Jared.
Yeah.
Where can the lovely people find you?
Y'all can find me perusing Sunshine Seekers because this shit fucks.
I love that. We haven't done any Andor stuff. Or we did, my sister and I, she made a shirt for the Andor premiere that we went to, but we haven't listed it. So
you guys are at the premiere. That's awesome.
Yeah, somehow I got invited. It was great.
That's sick.
Yeah, that is really cool. Oh God, I can't let my girlfriend know about your website. She's looking at the homepage of the Taylor Swift stuff. Oh,
you
no.
let her know, and then let me.
I will. I absolutely will.
I'm
mostly being facetious.
Huh? I'll give her some extra gifts if you let me know.
Ooh, I absolutely will. There might be an order placed by the end of the night. You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at DarkJedi2552. You can also find me as one of the co-stars of Ionized Bastards, a Star Wars role-playing game that is happening on the all remaining YouTube system channel. Okay, let's try that again without having a fucking stroke. You can find that on the All Remaining Systems YouTube channel, hosted by Michael McCoy, friend of the show. It's been lots of fun. I play an ex-Jedi Knight named Fabian Martell. It takes place about 2-3 years before the events of The Mandalorian. Really cool show. Really excited for how it's going. Monday night, we should be recording episode 3, so expect that pretty soon. Episodes 1 and 2 are already out. You can find the Nerd Academy podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and on our website, www.thenerdacademypodcast.com, where, if you're feeling generous, you can donate to our Patreon page. Give me $1! Speaking of our patrons, okay, I'm going to apologize in advance. Connor, did you warn her?
No, I didn't. I didn't.
Connor's always like, hey, I want me to go find some guests to come on the show. And I'm like, yeah. Okay, new rule. When you hunt somebody down that I've not interacted with before and don't know what's coming, please warn them about the end of the show from now on.
Okay.
Just as a general rule, everybody should be doing that. And I'm realizing that now. So, Mo,
This is great.
You might want to turn your headphones down a little bit.
Got it. Word.
Thank you to our $10 patrons, Nick Johnson. Why isn't it playing? Keandre Lloyd. And to Paco, or as he's going by on the Patreon right now, Taylor Swift. This is the bad one.
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
Come on. Why is it not working?
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
From the front lines of the information war, it's Alex Jones.
Fuck that guy. Anyway, I feel the need to remind like new people we don't like it. We just make fun of them a lot. Anyway.
No, I listen to the Clonecast. I am so used to using
Who do you
clips
listen to?
of the Clonecast.
Clonecast.
They two guys and they go through like the Clone Wars. They're going through Rebels, but like they use clips of like all of these like grifters, but like jokingly to make fun of them. So I'm used to
Connor,
that.
we gotta get in contact with the Clonecast. We gotta have a clip off. We gotta have a clip off.
Oh,
No, we got that one. We got this one of Alex.
Maybe I'll walk out of here tomorrow and you never see me again. That's really what I want to do.
We got another one from InfoWars, but it's Roger Stone.
I'm sick of being called a grifter.
Oh, we got so many. I never get to use that one as much as I want to.
Oh man.
I gotta hope someone says the G word so I can hit him with a Roger real quick. Yeah. Everybody go check out the Sunseekers. Like I said, I was looking at it for a minute there. Some nice stuff. There's some the fan shops never miss. They never miss. One could say
This motherfucker don't miss.
No,
anyway. Anyway, go check out everything Mo does. There's a new episode of the main show out now when you're watching this. We're talking the Wakanda Forever trailer. We're talking Deadpool 3. We're talking Armor Wars becoming a movie. Other stuff. So go check that out. Go watch that. You know, do the content stuff. Buy some Bloody Mary mix. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Also, our mascot is a haunted cookie jar. May the force be with you all. And
That's right.
if you're gonna kill Nazis in space, do it with a lightsaber.
Stop! Move away from the cookie jar!